3. Good morning, my name is Joanna Charles. My lesson is on a first grade level and I'm basing my lesson on visual modality. Good morning, students. Today we're going to learn about prediction. We're going to learn about sink or float. Think about it. Who knows what it means to sink? Yes, Priscilla, you tell me. It means very good. It means to touch the bottom. Now tell me about what it means to float. Give me an example. Good job. It's like a boat. Very good. It's on the top. It's floating. Very good. Now I'm going to introduce a special guest, Purple the Zebra, and it's going to be with us while we're going to read our book, Floating and Sinking by Honey Anderson. Objects that float stay at the top when they're put into water. Objects that sink go to the bottom when they're put into water. Try this. You will need water, one feather, and one stone. Put the feather into the water. What happens? Put the stone into the water. What happens? Does the feather float or does it sink? Does the stone float or does it sink? Now try this. You will need water, one small round stone, and one big flat stone. Put the stones into the water. What happens? Do they both take the same time to sink? Now try this. You will need water, one table tennis ball, and one big rock. Put the table tennis ball and the rock into the water. What happens? Does the small object float or does it sink? Does the big object float or does it sink? Now try this. You will need water, one pin, one big plastic toy. Put the pin and the toy into the water. What happens? Do the small objects always float? Do big objects always sink? Now try this. You will need water, one cork, and one thumb bag. Put the cork and the thumb bag into the water. What happens? Do they both float? Put the thumb bag into the cork. Does the thumb bag float now? Now try this. You will need water, some big objects, some small objects. Put into a group the objects that you think will float. Put into a group the objects that you think will sink. Put the objects into the water one at a time. Do the objects that you thought will float really float? Do the objects that you thought will sink really sink? Do some objects sometimes float and sometimes sink? The end. Now we're going to explore. After I read the book, we're going to explore with these items. I have a feather, I have a metal spoon, and I have a wooden clothespin. But first, we're going to predict what you think will happen if we put the feather, the spoon, and the wooden clothespin into the water. What do you think is going to happen if we put these items into the water? Do you think it's going to sink the feather or it's going to float? What do you think about it? Tell me. Very good. Okay, you think it's going to float. Let's put it here. You think it's going to float the feather. Now what do you think it's going to happen if we put the metal spoon into the water? You think it's going to float or sink? Very good. Everyone raise their hands, think it's going to sink. Now tell me about the wooden clothespin. You think it's going to sink? Very good. Well, we actually are going to do our project. Let's put the feather into the water. What happens? It's floating. Very good. Now let's put the metal spoon. It sank. Now let's see with our wooden clothespin. It's floating. Okay. Let's see our results and compare both of them. What do you think? We got the same results? Very good. Now, what do you think about the results and our predictions about the metal spoon? It sink. Very good. Now, what did we prove over here? Our prediction was it was gonna sink, and our results, it actually flowed. Very good. Now, I want you to explain, why do you think the feather float? Very good, very good. You think it flowed because it's lighter. Very good. Okay, very good. Now that we have done our exploration and we have explained our prediction, we are gonna elaborate. Now I want you to think and tell me about the spoon and the wooden clothespin. Do you think both are gonna sink at the same time? Let's see. No, right? Very good, because one is floating on the top and one sinks. It gets to the bottom. Very good. Okay, after we have done this, we're going to evaluate. I want you to take out your journals. Everyone, please take out your journals. And we're gonna done our prediction. After we have done our prediction project, we're going to evaluate our knowledge. I want you to take out the journals and write in one sentence, why do you think the spoon went down? Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to write down in one sentence, why do you think the spoon went down? Why do you think the spoon sank? After you have finished, pass the journals to the front. Thank you.